truth and light, where the spirits dance all night. The Creator gang shines bright, guiding us with all their might. Trumpets sound across the sky as we raise our voices high, praising the one most high under the Osiris watchful eye. We sing songs of love and grace in this sacred space. For the Creator gang we embrace, their wisdom we chase, with trumpets playing in tune under the silvery moon. We dance until the morning sun, this connection never undone. Harmony in every beat, our faith is concrete. Through the pages of the Osiris, ancient wisdom on display, teaching us the righteous way, leading us to a brighter day. With each trumpet blast, we're reminded of the past and the love that will ever last in this divine contrast. United in spirit, we uplift and hear it. We sing songs of love and grace in this sacred space. For the Creator gang we embrace, their wisdom we chase, with trumpets playing in tune under the silvery moon. We dance until the morning sun, this connection never undone. We sing songs of love and grace in this sacred space. For the Creator gang we embrace, their wisdom we chase, with trumpets playing in tune under the silvery moon. We dance until the morning sun, this connection never undone.
Crucify me at the ninth hour. Charges against me, attempts to arrest me. Apostate Jews, Pharisees and Sadducees. I spoke parables to the multitude at Galilee. Paint pictures with parables that'll fill up a gallery. Zealous Jews, killers on a salary. Jealous they confuse, heart harking, burning like calories. Restore the blind, raise the dead from the coffin, bruh. But my command make angels sing like an orchestra. The scribes took notes saying I'm a sorcerer. Reports above my head, flying sorcerers. Ascending and descending lights from the Etherian heights. Ninth hour daytime turn to midnight. The ground started vibrating hard as the temples and synagogues are destroyed by God. The children of God can make God. Creator gang is undefeated. Creator gang is undefeated. Know that. Know that. They not like us. Separate the real from the fake is a must. We stand on Creator and know God we trust. Team Kemet got crushed into powder and dust. Woo! Kemet looking bad now. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many men down? Look at us all running, ducking, trying to skip town. Now power one it in. You Hebrew, what you Kemet now? Siding with the people that enslaved your own people now? Chop you up into pieces and throw you in the river now. Reggie right beside you, get ate by Kemetic crocodile. Look, we got them running, covering square miles. Scared to death, what's left only to take the crown. Get smashed down on your own stomping ground. We took over like the Hicks on your turf doing a disco. Two-stepping, no half-stepping with the info. You wouldn't even know the book of the dead, bro, if it wasn't wasn't for the translation done by my sparrow. Your time's narrow, send me missiles, blow out your arch arrows. Arches down, so goes the pharaoh. I saw him reading the glyphs like he an expert, but where he learned that from? This about to hurt. First translation came from Samuel Birch. European Egyptology gave you it first. You couldn't translate a bird to a word without looking up them European definition verbs. Y'all niggas acting like y'all blackity black, frontin' to the people, man, y'all niggas actually whack. Your pathetic comedic creation meant it's a trap. The blind leading the blind with no actual facts. Jabari Osaze, you softer than Sade. Come to find out he followed Yahweh. That was your execution, you par Rosicrucian. Western thought you using, you are quite confusing. Don't know what you doing, how my eye got you moving. Right now you are losing, at your wake I'm viewing. R.I.P. communion, mummy wrapped in ruin. OSP is ruling, science has been proven. All motion moving, you live in an illusion. Who you think you fooling, think you need some schooling. It's like Reggie out here living in a ghost town, walking around like I see dead people around. I don't believe in spirits, but I believe them now. Stuttering Stanley, you can have a seat now.
Stuttering Stanley, stuttering Stanley, stuttering Stanley, stuttering Stanley. Shut up, you freak!
Freaky ass came and they got 69 gods. Freaky ass came and they got 69 gods. Freaky ass came and they got 69 gods. 69 gods, 69 gods. Freaky ass came and they got 69 gods. Freaky ass came and they got 69 gods. Freaky ass came and they got 69 gods. 69 gods, 69 gods. Creator gang is undefeated. Creator gang is undefeated. And it's gonna remain that way. And it's gonna remain that way.
Bitter sweet herbals. What it tastes is bitter, but the results are sweet. bittersweetherbals.com.
Run the rhythm.
Bitter sweet herbals. What it tastes is bitter, but the results are sweet. bittersweetherbals.com.
Yes, family, make sure to get your bitters. You know how we do. Let me run the It's a Vibe, you know. Can't go wrong without that rice. Where am there? It's a blood clot vibes. Run it. Run it. Run the rhythm. You done no king. Yes, I. Big up, large up yourself, yeah? It's a blood clot vibes. Family, large up yourself, big up yourself. It's the hostess with the mostest. Selective Sila Shalom's on the 1 and 2s. You see the title? You see the title? Since all the non-believers want to complain about the Druks. When I read the Owaspy, the Druks. The brown and black people are described as, they're discriminated on in the book. Yeah. How much you really know. It's a blood clot vibes. Peace to the righteous gods. You don't know the system in order of Jah over I and I. Let's get into it. Now you see the title, right? The Druks, the brown and black people. Because one thing Creator Gang always come across is people who want to bring up the drunks, the brown and black people, as to say that they're being downplayed in the Owaspy. So you know me, I don't argue with niggas. I just level the playing ground. So if you feel that the drunks in the Owaspy, the brown and black people, are savages and they're ground people, now, what if I was to show you that there's relevance to that? What if I showed you in the Owaspy that the term Druks, right, gives a description of the nature of these people? We're going to read it. But I'm going to show the non-believers, you know what I mean, the one who got a problem with the drunks, I'm going to show you that, nigga, the very behavior of these Druks
that you look at as being so derogatory is really you niggas. It's really you niggas. Yeah. When you describe the behavior of the Druks and the Owaspi, and it's only a couple of verses where it may seem like, oh, they're downing black people, but they're not downing black people. The book talks about the good, bad, and ugly of all the races in the book, all the people. Even the Ions did evil in the sight of the Lord, right? So ain't nobody free from the burden of evil, which is an innate trait in your physical body, your fleshly body, right? So now, let me see. Let me go to the Owaspi real quick. Let me share my blood clot screen. Because you already see the thumbnail got Narmer on it. Yes. Let me share my screen real quick. Excuse the hydrant. Now watch this. There go my screen. Let's go to the Owaspi, right? Let's go to where it all started. Let's start. Let me start from. Let me just start from the top. Now, Barashit bara Elohim ha'aretz. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and the Lord made man upright. Man was naked and not ashamed. Neither did he know the sin of incest, but dwelt like the beast of the field. Now, some people will read that and be like, oh, man, look how they're describing man. But is not that the truth? When a baby comes into the world, does a baby come on with a fresh pair of Nikes? When a baby is born into the world, right? Infant. When we look at an infant, right? When a baby comes into the world, a baby comes into the world naked. You don't come into the world with Pampers on. Naked, right? When you look at these babies, mentally, this was the condition of man in the beginning. Naked and not ashamed, because they don't know shame yet. Children don't know shame until they're taught shame. So what did the scripture say? Man was naked and not ashamed, neither did he know the sin of incest. So when we come back to these infants, these children do not know who they are. They don't have a self-identity yet. They don't know nothing about incest. If they were to grow up as ignorant as they are as children, they will interbreed with their young. They don't know. They have to be taught these things. So what the Owaspi is saying, the first races of men were like babies. They had no knowledge. They had to be taught the same way you came into the world knowing nothing. You came into the world naked. You came into the world crawling before walking. What makes you think it'll be any different with the races of men in the beginning? When man was created, he had to be taught these things the same way a child has to be taught these things. And then it says that they dwelt like the beast of the field, right? The Lord brought the angels of heaven to man. By his side, they took on forms like men, having all the organs and attributes of mortals, for it was the time of the earth for such things to be, being the time of Simu, the time of creation. So when man was created and was ignorant to who he was, the Lord brought angels of heaven to man. For what? For what? To do the same thing you see here. Parenting. Parenting. The angels came down from heaven to man to parent early man, to develop the senses of early man, to teach early man, to give early man an identity. That was the duty of the angels coming to the earth. So it came to pass that a new race was born on earth, and these were called Ains, because they were begotten of both heaven and earth. Consequently, it became a saying, the earth conceived of the Lord. Right? Some of these quotes you may be familiar with because it sounds very familiar in Bible. When it said Eve conceived and brought forth a man of the Lord. But technically what they're talking about are the angels. When the angels came down to raise man up, it was the angels that broke or went against the tree of knowledge, which was not to interbreed with primitive man. And they ended up interbreeding with primitive man, creating a new race of man called Ions. And these were pygmies. These were little people. These Ions were no more than 3 feet tall. So this is the thing about people who don't understand the Owaspy. They'll look at the Ions as being white and yellow and go right to Europeans and forget that these Ions grew no taller than 3 feet, what we would consider pygmy today. They forgot that part. Takari, Nepal, JJ, y'all forgot the fact that these white and yellow people stood no taller than 3 feet. Now, I would like for anybody to show me a race of Europeans that are 3 feet tall as a nation of people. Where can I go in Europe and see 3 feet people walking around? Where can I go in France, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, London, UK? Where can I go in the European regions and see a race of people that are 3 feet tall? I'm talking about now, and I'm talking about back then. You can't find it. So obviously, this is not talking about what you would classify as Europeans today. Right? Let's go to verse 4. Hold on, let me make sure I'm goddamn being heard and all that. All right, cool. Cool. Y'all hear me? All right. And the name of the first race was Asu, because they were of the earth only, meaning that the earth produced the first race of man. And the name of the second race was Ain, because they were capable of being taught spiritual things, right? So now, the earth only meaning primitive man. When the angels came to taught primitive man, they interbred, creating a new race of man called Ains, and these were capable of being taught spiritual things, meaning that the reason they was capable of being taught because the angels that interbred with man were already advanced angels. Keep in mind, they got here on a spacecraft, so they got to be technologically advanced for them to even get here. But one thing that a great majority of them was lacking was the knowledge of physicality, corporeal things. They lacked the experience in a physical body because a lot of these angels, as Owaspy described, died in infancy, so they never lived a corporeal life. So when these angels came to early man, primitive man, to raise him up, they were subjected to all the temptation, lust, appetite, hunger that comes with that fleshly body. And they was given instructions not to interbreed with primitive man, which they didn't uphold. They broke the law. And now they have a race. They are bound to these race that they gave on. Like if you have a child with an outside woman, you bound to that woman and that child. You bound especially to that child. That's your offspring. You just can't run and leave now. So when these angels interbred with men, they just couldn't run back in heaven and leave. You're bound to your offspring now. You have a lineage on the earth that where you wasn't even supposed to have a lineage. The Lord said, of all that live on the face of the earth, or in its water, or in the air above, that breatheth the breath of life, I have delivered only man to knowledge of his creator. See that? So it's basically saying, out of all the animals and reptiles on the planet, all the mammals and reptiles, man, mortal man, and woman, of course, is the only one capable of understanding the creator. Animals don't know creator like that. They just go off of instinct. They just do what they do, but they don't understand creator. They don't understand seasons and cycles like we know it as humans. So we special to the creator. The Lord spoke to the Ions through his angels saying, go hide your nakedness. Now he's telling the angels to cover up. Go put on some diapers, nigga. Go put on some diapers. Go put on a white robe for me. I need you to cover that. I don't want to see your ass and your loins hanging or your vagina out. I'm going to teach y'all how to become civilized people. Go cover up. And that's what the angels did. The Ions were afraid and they clothed themselves and were no longer naked before the Lord. See that? How many of you niggas walking around naked right now? It comes a time when you got to clothe up. You got to cover yourself. You got to cover your nakedness. Look at this. The Lord commanded the angels to give up their form. See that? And to no longer be seen as mortals. See that? So these angels that came and interbred with primitive man, they didn't stick around for a long time in physical form. They came, raised man up, interbred, and then boom, we out of here. We in spirit now. So what did the scripture say? The Lord commanded the angels to give up their forms and to no longer be seen as mortals. And it was done. And the Lord said to them, the angels, because ye brought forth life, which is in the flesh and blood, you shall minister to man for 6 generations on the face of the earth. And it was so, 6 generations being 200 years. So these angels were bound for 200 years to their offspring. And notice it stated that the angels had flesh and blood. Now, primitive man blood type, or the blood type of the animal kingdom, is mainly AB, AB. And rarely do you find O. They considered O blood type a rare blood type. They considered the O blood type a foreign blood type, an alienated blood type, when you look at some of the research on O blood, especially O negative. So if the angels came to the earth and was flesh and blood, but they have no ties to the earth, they wasn't created from the earth, it would make sense for the angels to carry an O blood type, which is a universal blood type that all mammals and reptile blood types can use. O blood is a universal donor blood. So wouldn't it make sense for the angel's blood to be universally used if need be, compared to somebody who got A blood and they can't take blood from a person who got B blood? And being that these angels have no attachment to the earth, their blood type wouldn't be related to the earth. So the O blood type would be best fitting for these angels. Because if these angels had a blood type of AB, that means they would have had to have been indigenous to the earth, but they're not. Now, verse 9, and so that man may continue to walk upright, you shall teach him the law of incest, for man of his own cannot attain to know this. So at that time, man was in this state of mind, people. They was in their infancy state of mind. They didn't know that was mama, that was daddy. They was that docile and dumb and ignorant to knowledge of who they were. So this was the early condition of man mentally. Baby crawling. Babies crawl, right? Before they walk. Right? Baby crawl. What did the verse just say? And so that man may continue to walk upright. It was a time that man wasn't walking upright. It was a time that man was moving around like this, just like a baby do. See how nature shows itself? You must crawl before you walk. What makes you think it'll be any different with the first races of men? Niggas on their belly. So when Takari's silly ass tried to say that the Irons, the Druks had no feet and that they was, nigga, you stupid. It's talking about this. It's talking about man starting off on his belly like an infant before learning how to walk upright. Which one of you niggas came out the womb walking? I'll wait. So the Creator is showing you through the child the very essence of early man in this state of a child being in his infant state, baby state. So what makes the difference with early man? You think man was created and he was walking upright? No, he had to learn. Just like these babies got to learn. See the reality of the Owaspy? Look at the responsibility that is showing you. That God didn't create man and man was walking upright with a fresh new pair of Nikes and some new pair of Timbs speaking the New York Cali language. Adam wasn't created like that. Adam was created goo goo gaga, goo 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 gaga. That's how Adam was speaking, just like a baby speaks. Prior to learning language, prior to learning the script. See, Owaspy is showing you primitive man in his earliest state. to show you how man developed to where we at today. What Jaja say? And so that man may continue to walk upright, you shall teach him the law of incest. For a man of his own account cannot attain to know this. So they're talking about primitive man having no knowledge of even his mother and father. He will interbreed right back with his own mother, his child, because they don't know. Just like these kids. They don't know. You got to be taught. Look what Judge say. Nor shall ye permit the Ions to dwell with the Asu, lest his seed go down in darkness. Now, what does he mean by that? Because man is primitive at this time. He has no consciousness of a creator, of a heaven. So by interbreeding back into the seed, your seed is going to dilute, because these Asuans at this time have no knowledge of creator. But the Ions are starting to learn. Judge say, clothe yourself. Right? Now look, and man was thus inspired of the Lord, and he walked upright and prospered on the earth. So, long story short, the angels developed man to a point where he walked, he's clothing himself, he's starting to become civil, or he's starting to become angelic-like as a terrestrial. But you think these angels came naked to man? No, these angels came decked out in robes and garments. So I associate that they were probably looking like them. We ain't never seen a nigga looking like this before. What's that he got on? Why his body looking like that? Why my body look, you know what I mean? It starts to produce thoughts. Your consciousness starts to work. Now look, but after a season is 400 years. But after about 400 years, man became conceited in his own judgment, and he disobeyed the commandments of God. Who do you think he's talking about? The Ions. And he strayed out of the garden of paradise. Who they talking about? The Ions. And began to dwell with the Asuans. And there was born into the world a new race called Druk. And they did not have the light of the Father in them. Neither could they be inspired with shame, nor with heavenly things. Now they're talking about the conditions of the Druks at that time. Just like the baby, unconscious, they got to be taught. But at this time, the Ions and the Asuns is already on the planet. The Asum is too primitive to raise up. The Ions is already conscious about a creator and already taking word from the angels. So now this new race comes up on the scene, and they got to go through the same process like this. They got to be raised up. So now, and this is the part where they get, oh, look, it says that they didn't have the light of the Father in them. How many of you niggas didn't have the light of the Father in you before you came into the truth? Neither could they be inspired with shame, nor heavenly things. We talking about the vortex is the force and power that creates all things in the heavens, and you niggas couldn't receive it. We went on Sinetta and broke down the vortex. JJ had a problem with it. Nepal had a problem with it. You can't understand heavenly things. And the vortex is an objective thing. It's something that is objectively proven. It's not subjective. We're not trying to force you to believe it. We're demonstrating it before you. We're demonstrating it before you. So a lot of you got the characteristics of a Druk. Now look. And that's just being a primitive man, primitive thinking. But the Ions were grateful to the Lord, and they gave sacrifice and burnt offerings. And they said to the Druks, go sacrifice to the Lord, and he will prosper you. But the Druks did not understand. And they fell upon the Lord's chosen and slew them right and left, taking their possessions. Now look at the behavior of the Druks. They'll say, oh, see, look, they don't have the light of the Father. They're over there killing and destroying. But let's take a closer look. Let's take a closer look at something. It's fair game over here. Y'all niggas done opened up a can of death messing with Sila Shalom. What we got here? What we got here? The normal palette, right? See if I can pull up that picture. What we got here? Let me see if I can get a better looking picture than that. It look kind of blurry. Yeah, we're going to level the playing ground. We're going to level the playing ground, family. Now look, who is this? This is Nama. Let's read that verse before I go in crazy. Let's read this verse. Talk about the Druks. So the Ains were grateful to the Lord, and they gave sacrifice and burnt offerings. And they said to the Druks, go sacrifice to the Lord, and he will prosper you. But the Druks didn't understand. And what did the Druks do? They fell upon the chosen and slew them right and left, taking their possessions. Now, what is Narmer doing? This is the earliest depiction we have of black leadership. They get upset in the Owaspi about the identity of the Druks and how the Druks are described characteristically in the book. But when we go in real human history and we look at Narmer and we look at what Narmer is doing on this palette, is Narmer behaving like one of the chosen of God? Or is Narmer behaving like a goddamn Druk? The very same description that Owaspi described of the Druks, and we see right here in Narmer 3100 BC, the very first king of Egypt, acting and behaving like a Druk. Let's read it again. They fell upon the Lord's chosen and slew them right and left, taking their possessions. Don't that look familiar? You have Narmer slaying them. So Narmer is the goddamn Druk, and the dude who Narmer is holding is the Iron. Let's put it in perspective. So you got the Irons being slayed by the Druks on the Narmer palette as a description to show you in real time what it's looking like. Y'all say the Owaspi is fairy tale, right? But this ain't fairy tale. What the fairy tale did is brought to life the behavior, what's in a fairy tale book, to reality. Because the behavior of the Druks is shown in real history. The very first king of Egypt is shown with the behavior and character of a Druk. Let's read on. And the Lord said to the Druks, the Lord said to Narmer, because you have slain your brother, because you have slain your brother, because you have slain your brother, you shall depart out of the place of God. And so that you may be known to the ends of the earth, I put a mark upon you, Cain, Druks. So Narmer gets kicked out of the place of God. Is Narmer the son of God? Is Narmer representing the Netarus properly? Is this what Atum and Ptah would Narmer to be doing if they was looking down from their high heavens and seeing destruction? Owaspi say that this behavior got them niggas kicked out of the place of God. So would anything be different with Narmer? Narmer ass get kicked out of the place of God too for what? Killing his brother. Killing his brother. The Lord said to the Druks, because you have what? Slain your brother. You shall depart out of the place of God. Nigga, what we talking about here? The very first Pharaoh of Egypt, depart his ass out of here. Get him out of here. He don't belong in the place of God because he's slaying his brother. Now, for you biblical niggas, for you Hebrews talking that talk, let's scroll down a little bit. Let's go to Cain and Abel. Let's go to the story of Cain and Abel and see what we got going on with the two brothers. The first two brothers on the face of the planet, Cain and Abel. Let's get it. So we got the first Pharaoh with the behavior of a Druk. Now let's go to Cain and Abel. Let's go here for a minute. Genesis 4:1. And Adam knew his wife. And Adam knew Eve, his wife. And she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have begotten a man from the Lord. and again bore his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of ground. So here we have two brothers from the same mother and father, according to the text, right? Now look, in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought fruit of the ground and offering unto the Lord. And Abel also brought the firstling of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou dost well, shall thou not be accepted? And if thou does not well, sin lies at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Now look, and Cain talked with Abel, his brother. Huh? Now for you blackity black niggas, this is two black people here. Right? Cain and Abel black. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against his brother and slew him. What we talking about here? Where's the colonizer? Where's the white man? Where's the Indian man? Where's the China man? Where's the Arab? This is supposed to be two blackity black niggas. And out of jealousy, hate, and anger, Cain raises up and kills his brother Abel. Now, what did the Owaspi describe the Druks as? And the Lord said to the Druks, because you have what? Slain your brother. What did Cain do? Huh? What did Cain do? Cain rose up against his brother and slew him. Cain is a Druk. But this a black man though. Ain't no white people here. But y'all got a problem with the Druks being brown and black in the Owaspi being described as murderers and killers when it's backed in your own holy books. It's backed in archaeology. It's backed in your Kemetic text. What we talking about here? The Bible came before Owaspi. Narmer came before Owaspi. And here you have in the Owaspi, it's exposing the Druks as being violent, but then your records are backing it. So what are we really talking about here? What we talking about, Jabari? All you Kemetic niggas. All you Hebrew Israelites, Tazariak and all you blackity black niggas. When the very behavior of a Druk is described in your Bible. It's shown on the normal palette. Shown on the normal palette. I'm sick of y'all always talking about the colonizer, but overlook the fact that you niggas was the first colonizer. Bitch, let's talk about it. Let's talk. So when the white man came up and conquered Egypt and seen Narmer like this, the Macedonians, when Alexander the Great came up in Egypt and seen Narmer, like, look, that's the first king. Look what he's doing to his own people. He killing off his own people. So Alexander the Great, like, shit, nigga, I ain't got no problem with killing off these niggas. They doing it to themselves. What we really talking about here, Jabari? Sonetta? Nepal? Asar? Reggie? All you blackity black niggas, but you overlook the fact that you niggas was the first colonizers. You niggas was the first murderers of your own people. So don't talk to me about no Druks in the Owaspi. When in real history, and in your fairy tale book, your so-called chosen is being described as being destructive. Hell, we talking about here, man. Y'all niggas better go sit down somewhere. All that blackity black talk. Now look, let's read. And the Lord said to the Druks, because ye have slain your brother, you shall depart out of the place of God. And so that you may be known to the ends of the earth, I put my mark upon you. Now, what is this mark that the Lord put upon the Druks? Look, let's read. And the mark of the Lord put upon the Druks was the shadow of blood, which being interpreted as war. In my Xerxes 300 voice, war. What we talking about here? The mark of the beast or the mark of Cain is warfare. What do we see Narmer doing? Warfare. Norma got the mark of Cain. The mark of the Druk is warfare. And you niggas got a problem with the OSP exposing this when in history it's showing you niggas with the same behavior. Warfare. Cain rose up against his brother and slew him. Warfare. That's the mark of the goddamn beast. Warfare. Ain't no nigga walking around with a skin complexion talking about that's the mark. Ain't no nigga running around here with a birthmark on his body talking about that's the mark of Cain. The mark of Cain is warfare, destruction and death, the shadow of blood. You niggas don't want this smoke, man. And the mark of the Lord put upon the Druks was the shadow of blood, which being interpreted is war. The earliest depiction we have of a black leader is depicting warfare, destruction, and death. That's why niggas ain't got their shit together today. We got an internal hate for each other because it started with this nigga Norma. It started with this nigga Cain and Abel. An internal hate for your own brother. But you got a problem when we bring this shit out the OSP. Y'all niggas always want to paint the good side. Y'all always want to point the colonization on the European, but you don't want to take a look at your black ass. Your blackity black ass right here. Pay attention to this side of the palette. Look at this, man. Look at this. You see these brothers? These are 10 brothers with ropes around their arms with their heads chopped off between their legs. That's what you call execution. Execution. Ain't no white man right there, nigga. Ain't no Indian man right there. Ain't no Arabs right there, nigga. That's niggas killing niggas. But you got a problem with the OSP talking about the Druks. And you niggas is carrying out that behavior. Keep in mind, this is the depiction of the first pharaoh we got. And what is depicted? Warfare. What is the mark of the beast? Warfare. Hell we talking about here. And the Lord God said, by this sign, the tribes of the Druk and their descendants shall be known to the end of the world, nigga. What we talking about here? This is the sign. How you would identify a goddamn Druk is by their behavior. Look at that. Which one of these niggas in here is acting like the Druk? And which one of these niggas is in here possibly could be the righteous one? Look at this. Look at this brother. Look at him. He has no weapon. He's not even a warrior. I can see if the nigga had a sword in his hand right here or a knife or a sickle, something to stab the nigga with. He is armless. And he is being grabbed by the head of the hair of another black man who looks like a goddamn patrol cop. This nigga got on a skirt. This nigga got a skirt with a onesie. Imagine you getting your ass whipped with a nigga with a skirt on. Man, come on, man. I'd rather rock the loins. I'd rather rock this shit right here with my loins being covered than rock a skirt. What we really talking about? But this is war. This is the sign. And it says to the end of the goddamn earth. Is niggas still warring with niggas now? How many niggas is killing niggas in Chicago? How many niggas getting murdered in the Bronx, New York, and California, and Atlanta, Georgia? Let alone Africa, with tribal wars in Africa, the Watutsis and the Hutus back in the 90s or the 80s when that took place, when they was genociding each other off. Don't talk to me about that blackity black talk. Nigga, you niggas supposed to be higher than that. You're supposed to be spiritually advanced to the point where you shouldn't be stooping down to the carnal level and talking about the white man when you got shit like this hanging over your head. Yeah, you niggas done barked up the wrong tree. Let goddamn me and goddamn what's the nigga name? What's the nigga name? Who we had a debate? Osiris, Jabari. Nigga, let's have a debate one-on-one, nigga. I'm gonna murder you with this information. I'm gonna keep it right here. Y'all want to talk about the Greeks and the message, nigga? We're gonna go 3100 BC and stay right in 3100 BC and see what the black man was doing to the black man in them days. We're gonna stay right there. And the Lord God said, by this sign, what sign? War. By the sign of war shall the tribes of the Druks and their descendants shall be known to the end of the world. See that? Look at this. Side note. Look at the side note. Note that war is a distinguishing characteristics of the tribes of Druk and their descendants, but not their color, size, geographical location. Every person alive today descends from both the Ayans and the Druks. And those who war are following their Druk ancestry. Rather than their Ayan ancestry, meaning non-resistance, no warfare. For these races amalgamated and also became extinct as to initial race, so that there is now no separate race of Druks or Ayans, but all people today are capable of eternal life. Yet the Druk race and legacy was necessary to strengthen the race of man, imparting to them the necessary corporeal endurance and capacity for that which was to come. You got to build up warriors sometimes. This is part of the cycle of the goddamn human experience. So now, and woman being more helpless than man cried out with fear, saying, O Lord, how shall I bring forth to you and not to sons of death? Right? The Lord said, because you have brought forth in pain, meaning brought forth children in pain, and yet called on my name, behold, I will be as a shield and protector to you. Talking about women. For I will also put a mark upon the Ayans, my chosen, so you shall know them when they come to you. So right here, this is what the brothers was talking about earlier. The women couldn't distinguish the difference from what an Ayan was from a Drunk, right? Because if that was the case, they would have already known, all right, these the Ayans over here. I know to rock with these niggas. But they needed a sign because they couldn't distinguish. Just like this picture here, brother killing brother, you can't distinguish. These two black men, all right, which one of these niggas is the Ayans and which one of these niggas is behaving like the Drunk? Well, we know Norman's behaving like the Drunk, so obviously the nigga laying down is the Ayan. But if they wasn't born and they were just standing side by side, how would you know the difference? That's what the women are saying. And the Lord said, I will put a mark upon the Ayans. What is this mark? For women to identify the chosen. And the Lord commanded the male Ayans, old and young, to be circumcised, so that women would not be deceived by the drunk. So circumcision was the mark to distinguish the Ayans from the Druks. See that? So obviously, if the Druks was brown and blacks, and the Ayans was yellow and white and yellow, they're not talking about European white and yellow. It's an albine. It's a form of albinism, right? But it's still negroidal in feature. They're still negroidal in feature. They're still negroidal in feature. They're still negroidal in feature, right? White and yellow. Now keep in mind, we ain't talking about the European. They ain't on the scene yet. And then we're talking about a race of people 3 feet tall. But what I'm showing you, genetically, there is a gene mutation that produces white and yellow. Negro. He's still melanated. Nigga, you can't be no other. You got to have melanin. Melanin is copper and carbon. Even the Europeans got that. So it was circumcision. And the Lord commanded the male Ayans, old and young, to be circumcised so that woman would not be deceived by the Druks. And the Ayans circumcised their males, old and young, for it was the testimony of the Lord to woman that seed of their seed was born to everlasting life. What's this? Now, we talked about the Druks, right? These niggas had a hard time comprehending and learning. They ain't comprehend, right? They ain't had the light of the Father in them. Now, in order for you to learn, your hippocampus got to be there. The hippocampus is a brain structure that plays a key role in what? Memory, learning, and emotion. Key point here, learning. The hippocampus wasn't fully developed in early man. Nah. See that? Hippocampus is part of your brain that is responsible for memory and learning. They was lacking in the hippocampus. The Druks. Destruction. They couldn't comprehend creator. They couldn't, at this time, the hippocampus was underdeveloped. They had a problem with what? They didn't have a problem with learning. They had a problem with memory, keeping that shit in your mind and learning. You got to keep it in memory for the learning to continue. If you learn something and don't memorize it, then what's the point? Right? So that's the hippocampus. Right here. And then you got the frontal lobe. You got the frontal lobe of the brain. Now look, the frontal lobe of the brain, look what it says. Your brain's frontal lobe is home to areas that manage thinking, self-control, judgment. Now look at the image of the frontal lobe, right? It's right here in the front. Now watch this. See, we're not just making this shit up. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Now look at the Homo erectus. Look at the skull of the Homo erectus, right? Notice, look at the frontal lobe. It's not fully developed in the Homo erectus. So if the frontal lobe is not fully developed in the Homo erectus, that they're going to lack what? What they're going to lack? What they're going to lack? Thinking properly, thinking and learning, personality, memory storage. It said the Druks couldn't be taught heavily things. We're dealing with primitive man. His brain wasn't even developed. Homo erectus, this is primitive man, Homo erectus. His frontal lobe was not fully developed. His frontal lobe was lacking. So between the frontal lobe lacking, which deal with memory storage, with the hippocampus not fully developed, which deal with memory and learning and thinking, that's why the Druks had a problem with comprehending in this early period of time of man history. Now the ions would be considered Homo sapien. Watch this. Watch this. Now look at the Homo sapien skull. Look at the skull of the Homo sapien, right? Look at the skull of the Homo sapien. You see it? The frontal lobe was more developed. The frontal lobe was more developed. Look at primitive man. His frontal lobe was not developed. So when you cross compare, even with this picture, the evolution of the skull, right? So we're not just talking out the ass, nigga. We talking anthropology now. So look, this is a Homo erectus skull. I mean, a Homo sapien skull. And Homo sapien means thinking man, wise man. That's what that means. And here's the skull of a Homo erectus. Look at the frontal lobe, family. We ain't making this shit up. Look at the frontal lobe. Look at the frontal lobe of the Homo sapien. It's more developed. And look at the frontal lobe of primitive man. It's lacking development. More earthbound. Remember when it says the Asuan was the earth only? Primitive man. Look at the frontal lobe. What is the frontal lobe responsible for? What is the frontal lobe responsible for? Your brain's frontal lobe is home to areas that manage thinking, emotions, personality, judgment, self-control, muscle control and movements, memory storage. That's the frontal lobe. What do the hippocampus do again? What do the hippocampus do? Let's get it. Let's get it. What do the hippocampus do? The hippocampus, a brain structure that plays a key role in what? Memory, learning, emotions. So you have primitive man lacking memory, emotions, and learning, thinking. Because their mind wasn't developed yet. Their mind wasn't developed yet. They still have some developing to go. The same way a baby got developing to grow. The skull of a baby ain't the same as the skull of an adult. They go with baby skull. See that? That's like saying primitive man, early man, the early stages of man. They're primitive. This is the skull of a baby, primitive, right? It has all the faculties. The frontal lobe is there. The hippocampus is there, but it's not developed. Their learning, thinking, and emotions is not fully developed at a baby stage. You teach them something, they're gonna forget. It got to be repetitive, over and over, recitation, before they can learn and properly understand. And that comes with what? Growth. So that's a baby skull. They go an adult. See that? Everything evolves. Everything changes. Everything grows and develops. So here you have primitive man that was lacking the frontal lobe, which in return will lack the thinking and learning and the ability to restore memory, and the hippocampus, responsible for the same things. And then you have the evolution of the skull, Homo sapien. See that? So this would have been Asu, and this would have been the Druks and the Cain, the Ions, and all that. So now, let's move forward. And the Druks went away into the wilderness and dwelt with the Asuans and with one another. So the Druks went and dwelt with primitive man. So you got that. That's like Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo florens, and all that, them early races of primitive man. So now, God said, I will make a boundary line between the tribes of the Druks and the Ions, and this line that I, the Lord God, make between them. The Ions shall labor and clothe themselves, and I will remain with them, but the Druks shall wander in the wilderness, neither laboring nor clothing themselves. Right? They get so uptight. Oh, look at the behavior of the Druks, but we show the behavior of the Druks in real-time history, so we can kill that. And keep in mind, this is primitive man. This is not man like us right now and then fully comprehension. This is primitive man. Niggas who wasn't even standing fully upright. Niggas who was still standing hunched over. If you notice, a lot of indigenous tribes do a lot of squatting. A lot of squatting. They spend a lot of time squatted down. And this is now we're talking, let alone back then. So now, the time of the inhabitation of Asu, primitive man, Homo erectus. And keep in mind, Homo erectus means upright walking man. Let's get that. So that's telling you something right there. If Homo erectus means upright walking man, what was he walking prior to that? How was he walking prior to that? Look what it states. Upright man. That's what Homo erectus means. Upright man. Let's see what Homo sapien means. We're going to show you that this shit is talking about primitive man. These niggas think Adam and Eve came out the womb with a fresh new pair of Nikes. Homo sapien. What does the word Homo sapien mean? Let's get it. Wait a minute, hold on. Homo sapien, what that say? Thinking or wise man. That's what Homo sapien means. This is the ions. This is the Druks. Because the Druks and the ions both capable of thinking, and just one got a head start before another one. So Homo sapien means thinking man, wise man. Homo erectus means upright man. What was the first thing the Lord, let me come back to that verse, chapter 2. What was the first thing the Lord said to the angels? Let's come back up. What's one of the first thing the Lord said to the angels? Right? Right here. In the beginning of the heavens and the earth. And the Lord made man upright. What are we talking about here? It was a point where man wasn't walking upright. He was moving around like this. Man was moving around like this before walking upright. What does Homo sapien mean? What does Homo erectus mean? I'm sorry. Upright man. So what was man like before he was upright? Homo erectus. Homo erectus, literally, upright man. A nigga who's standing on his 2 feet straight up. What did the Lord say? And the Lord made man upright. Man wasn't walking upright at one time. Man was moving like this. Crawling on his belly like a baby. So just imagine you coming to the earth for the first time to raise up man, and you see man in this condition here, on his belly, prior to him walking upright. So the angels taught man to walk upright, which is Homo erectus, upright man. Then after the Homo erectus came the Homo sapien, which is the thinking man, the wise man. And this is what the ions was, right here. The ions. Because they was capable of learning spiritual things. Let's get that. Right here. Look. And the name of the first race was Asu. This is the first race, Asu. Homo erectus, upright man. Look what it say next. Because they were of the earth only. Primitive man is of the earth only. And then it says the second race. The second race was called Iron. Because what? They were capable of being taught spiritual things. That's your thinking man. That's your Homo sapien. So they go to two distinctive races right there. The Homo erectus being Asu, primitive man, upright man. And he was learning to be upright through the Lord's angels. And then the offspring between the angels and the Homo erectus produces the Homo sapien, the thinking man, the wise man. How did the goddamn Homo sapien, the Homo erectus, evolve into the Homo sapien? That's a whole nother argument. But we know that was the angels who came down. So it says the second race was the Ions because they were capable of being taught spiritual things. Wise man, thinking man. So then we got the two races right there, and we're proving it, backing it with anthropology. Now look, and keep in mind, these races are extinct today. We carry the gene pool of these races, but as a race, these races are extinct. The same way the Homo erectus are extinct. The same way Homo sapiens are extinct. We Homo sapiens sapien now, you know what I mean? So the time of the inhabitation of Asu, the Homo erectus, primitive man, was 8,000 years. And they survived 2,000 years after the time of the birth of the thinking man, the Homo sapien, the Ions. Which is to say, primitive man, Asu, Homo erectus, dwelt on the earth 6,000 years. Then conceived of the children of God, and after that survived 2,000 years. And then look what it states next. The Homo erectus, primitive man, Asu, disappeared off the face of the earth. So, Asu, primitive man, Homo erectus, lived 8,000 years total before they became extinct to the earth. And this time period that the Owaspi put this in is 78,000 years ago. So we're talking 78,000 years ago. There was no Europeans on the planet 78,000 years ago. You only had Homo sapien. You still had Homo erectus, I'm sure. So now, look what it states next. But the sacred people, the Ions, the thinking people, and the carnivores people, the Druks, they're thinking people too, remained on the earth. So these are the two people that remain on the earth. Homo sapiens, both being Homo sapiens. Right? Look what it states. Now, this is where the problem comes in at. The Ions were white and yellow, but the Druks were brown and black. The Ions were small and slender, but the Druks were tall and stout. Now, this is where all the problem coming at. This is where it's in. This is where everybody goddamn start pulling their hair out their head because they got a problem with the coloration of these people. Oh, the Druks are brown and black. Oh, the Ions are white and yellow now. The white and yellow, we just said that the Europeans wasn't here at this time. There is no Europeans at this time. And these Ions are 3 feet tall. These are pygmies. So if you was to apply white and yellow in real time, the only thing that we're going to come to is this. That's white and yellow, literally, in the gene pool. But that don't mean that they're Europeans. See that? They're talking about a melanated people that have skin and hair that is white and yellow. We would classify this today as an albine. Noah was an albine, according to the book of Enoch. So you niggas can't go too far left and raise this argument about these Ions being white and yellow when the progenitor of Ham was described as being white in the book of Enoch. So we're not going to play those games. All these are Negroidal people. So the Ions were white and yellow, but the Druks were brown and black. And the Ions were small and slender, but the Druks were tall and stout. Now look. Now because the Druks had not previously obeyed the Lord, see look. But the Druks had not previously obeyed the Lord. So, oh look, see the Druks, the brown and black people have not obeyed the Lord. What was the law of the Lord, nigga? Thou shalt not kill thy brother. When we look at Nama, he ain't obeying the laws. If he was to get religious with Egypt, thou shalt not murder and kill, Nama is not following the law. So what happens when you break the law? What happens when you break the law in Egypt? What happens when when your heart is not balanced on the feather of Ma'at, Jabari? What happens? Sanetta, what happens? Reggie, what happens? Your soul is devoured by the Amit. The Amit. Let me show y'all what is the devil in Egypt. This is the devil in Egypt. This will be equivalent of the devil. The nigga who devours spirits. That right there. You see that creature? Let me come to this one. This would be the equivalent of the devil. This is the Amit. In the Egyptian mystery system or spiritual system, this creature is an amalgamated creature, but the purpose of it is to devour your soul. So regardless of how the creature looked, the purpose of this joker is to devour your heart, your soul, if it's not balanced on Ma'at. Now, when we look at some of the things that is required of Ma'at, see, this is the shit that Jabari and them don't want to tackle. They want to act like Egypt was just hoary-gory. We could pull out more negative shit going on in Egypt than positive. You think because you got the pyramids and you got architect, that means you holy. Nigga, we got a lot of niggas out here in the city of Atlanta building architectural grand buildings, skyscrapers right here in downtown Atlanta. And as soon as they get off work, they get drunk. They get high. They fornicate. So being holy and pure ain't got nothing to do with you building a building. So let's not get it twisted. These are the laws of Ma'at. I have not committed sin. I have not committed robbery with violence. How many wars you see on the wall of Kemet? Them niggas going on. How many Egyptian pharaohs or how many illustrations you see on the walls of Kemet when niggas is at war? Niggas beating niggas. I just showed you that on the palette. We gonna get there. I have not stolen. I have not slain men or women. This is the laws of Ma'at that you're supposed to live up to in order to become one with the Sa in the fields of Rush. I have not stolen food. I have not swindled offerings. I have not stolen from God. How you steal from God? Or netchers. I have not been exclusively angry. I have not cursed God. I have not behaved with violence. I have not caused disruption of peace. All these are the principles of Ma'at that all you niggas who talk about Kemet supposed to stand up to. So I could literally go through every 42 law of Ma'at and show how all these niggas broke them. Let's just scroll down. I brought this out in the debate with Jabari, and he ain't had nothing to combat with it. Actually, that really ended everything. When I showed that the normal appellate ain't got nothing to do with them niggas upholding Ma'at. See right here? I have not slain a man or woman. This is normal breaking all the laws of Ma'at. What happens when you break the laws of Ma'at? What is the penalty of breaking the laws of Ma'at? Do them niggas ever talk about that? You'll never hear them niggas talk about the pharaohs that broke the laws of Ma'at and the consequences that come with breaking the laws of Ma'at. Nor do them niggas give you a rundown of who upheld the laws of Ma'at and who didn't. I can tell you now, ain't none of these niggas upheld the laws of Ma'at. From the old kingdom, the middle kingdom, to the new kingdom. I'll do a video on every pharaoh of Egypt and show you that none of them niggas upheld the laws of Ma'at. And keep in mind, what is the penalty of not upholding the laws of Ma'at? Let's let them tell it. Let's let them tell it. What does it say right here? Ammit is a hybrid creature, a hybrid of three first now creatures, a crocodile, lion, and a hippo. Ammit devours the hearts that are heavier than the feather of Ma'at. What does the Ammit do? Devour the hearts. Basically the soul. Nigga, your ass go into hell. In Christian terms. You nigga, all the Narmer is in hell right now. He's being devoured by the Ammit because he done broke half the laws of Ma'at. So what's all this blackity black about Ma'at, prosperity, and all these niggas? Stop! You niggas is lying. You niggas is in denial of the fact that the laws of Ma'at is just as unreliable as the laws of the laws of God in the Bible. For layman terms, the Ten Commandments. God in the Bible broke his own commandments. God in the Bible got the children of Israel breaking their own commandments, sending them out to break their own commandments. You have Narmer breaking the commandments of Ma'at. So what are we really talking about? And these are blackity blacks. All these supposed to be black people. And we don't see a sense of righteousness yet. We don't see an example of righteousness yet. Is this righteousness? Ask Jabari, ask son into this. Ask Reggie. Ask Asar. Is this a sign of righteousness? And I don't want to hear about, oh, that's street righteousness or all that street justice. No. Point blank, period. The Lord said, thou shalt not murder and kill. He didn't give no explanations. So if the Lord said, thou shalt not murder and kill, why is Cain killing Abel? Why is black on black crime taking place? And it ain't nobody else but these two niggas. This is the first black man, the two black brothers on the planet in Genesis. Black on black crime, Cain killed Abel. This is the first pharaoh we have in history. Is this an example of righteousness, Jabari? Is Narmer upholding Ma'at? What did Narmer Palace say right here, Jabari? Sanetta? Y'all laugh at Owaspi and John Bilal Nubro, but look what's going on here. I have not caused disruption of peace. I have not terrorized anyone. How can Narmer sit there before Asar? How can Narmer sit there before Tahuti, Ampu, Asar, talking about he ain't done these things? Talk about it, Jabari. What happens when Narmer faces Asar, Tahuti, and Ampu and confess these laws to the judges, saying he has not slain a man, saying he has not terrorized anybody, saying he has not behaved in violence, saying he has not caused disruption of peace, nor worked evil, how can he stand before the priests in the judgment hall of Ma'at professing these things? He's going to be a liar. He can't profess these things. He's going to have to go before the judge and say, I have slain man and woman. I have committed terrorism on everybody. I have behaved with violence. I have caused disruption of peace, and I have worked evil. That's what Narmer would have to say before who? Him God. Him God right here. Right here, him God Osiris. Don't let these niggas fool you to think Osiris is a goddamn aspect of nature. No, he's a deity. You can read it in the text for yourself. So Narmer got to go through all this proceedings before he get to Osiris. You think Osiris is going to let him in the fields of Rush, with that hanging over his head, killing his brothers? Tahuti right there writing it down. Oh, no, this nigga can't say that. He done slain. He done murdered. He done caused disruption of peace. He done worked evil. So Narmer would have been stopped right here at the dua. His soul would have got devoured. There goes Osiris sitting on his throne. Right there. They go to Utterance 2:13 to prove Osiris have a throne. Utterance 2:13, verse 134. O Anus, Eunice, you have not gone dead. You have gone alive to sit on the throne of Osiris. Huh? Now, if that was in the Bible and you changed the word Osiris to God, you got the same concept and idea of a God sitting on the throne. What makes it any different with Osiris? Osiris is your Egyptian God sitting on his throne. He the big dog. He the big dog. Right? And that's in the Utterance 2:13. Pull it up. Utterance 2:13, verse 134. You're going to see Osiris has a throne. I'm reading from the text. Look, this is the hieroglyph for throne. Seat, throne. There you go right there. And look what it's associated with. Asar's name. So don't let these, and what it say? Seat, place. Don't let these niggas fool you. Osiris is a god. This is your early depiction of a god prior to your Hebrew and Christian God concept of a man sitting on a throne. There he is right there. So you disgraced Osiris, Narmer. And Narmer got the nerve to be wearing the same crown that Osiris got on his head. They got the same crown on, look. See it? Look at the crown of Osiris. Look at the crown of Narmer. Narmer's supposed to be representing Osiris, but how can you represent Osiris if you're committing bloodshed? You disgracing Osiris in the laws of Ma'at, Narmer. Give me a one in the chat if y'all getting this understanding, family. Give me a one in the chat if y'all getting this goddamn understanding, because we ain't playing no more games with these niggas, man. We ain't playing no games with these niggas. Blood vibes. Yes, family. You know what I mean? We leveling the playing ground like always. Peace to the righteous God. I see you, Cosmo Kel TV. Just me, I see you. Johnny James, the whole gang in the building. I see y'all in the building. Yahoo, I see you, King. Red said Trini. Tabitha, I see ya. Yes, I. You know what I'm saying? Just going in a quick fast vibes, yeah? Now look at this. Now, because the Druks had previously obeyed the Lord, but went and dwelled with the Asuans, primitive men, Homo erectus, there was a half-breed race born on the earth called Yak, signifying ground people. And they buried in the ground like beasts of the field, of the forest. And the Yaks did not walk wholly upright, but also went on all fours. So look at the condition of primitive man. Look at the inbreeding going on, creating these different races, these different primitive beast-like races. So a yak would be considered a Bigfoot in that sense. You know what I mean? Now keep in mind, these are primitive times, primitive races that didn't last long either. A lot of these races died off in the first arc cycle after the creation of man, at the ending of the cycle of Asu. And you hear about the Yetis, the Mithridates, the Bigfoots, and all that. Owaspi described them as yaks, right? God said, because the yaks cannot be taught the crime of incest. Keep in mind, we're not just saying this because these niggas is black and these niggas is dealing with an underdevelopment of the brain. You forgot the hippocampus. You got the hippocampus. You forgot. What else? The frontal lobe. Primitive man was lacking in these things. And sometimes breeding back into these primitive races even lackens even more the ability of comprehension. So, God said, because the yaks cannot be taught the crime of incest, behold, they shall not dwell forever on the earth. So shall it also be with the Druks, except where they cohabit with the Ions, whose seed is born in everlasting life. But with the Druks and their herons that spring from the yaks, there shall be an end both in this world and the next. Because they're producing shit coming out looking like this. Primitive. So when the Lord said don't intermix with this people and that people, it's to avoid producing certain type of gene pools. It's like you're not gonna go lay up with a crackhead who's totally off the wall. You ever seen one of them crackheads that be high just on that type of time? Just imagine interbreeding with that, you know what I mean? And then introverting back into that. It's going to produce a level of ignorance. And it says, look, and the arms of the yaks were long, and their backs were stooped and curved. Don't we see that here? Don't they describe the Bigfoot having long arms, curved back? Now, this is supposed to be a picture back in the 70s where a dude caught it right here. You know what I mean? This is before all the tricks and all that. He black as a motherfucker. He black and he brown. They go black and brown. Now you got to keep in mind, primitive man would have been hairy as hell too. Because he would have been adaptable to his environment. So even if you look at your own self, if you look at your shin, if you look at your forearm, you'll see hair right there. So it was a time in primitive man that hair on your arm and that hair on your shin in certain areas would have been thicker to help you adapt to the environment prior to the evolution of man. So there's the example of being slightly curved, stooped, and curved. Right? And the arms of the yaks were long, and their backs were stooped and curved. And the Lord said, because they are the fruit of incest, and not capable of speech, or eternal life in heaven, the iron shall make servants of them. See that? We got to make something of them. They're not capable of everlasting life. They're gonna dissolve due to the fact that they lack comprehension. And so that they may not tempt my chosen to bring forth fruits to destruction, they shall be neutralized in my sight. So the angels of God taught the irons to make eunuchs of the yaks. And after making eunuchs of both the male and female yaks, the irons took them for servants. So we're talking about primitive man dealing in primitive times on how to manage in the world, dealing with these. It's like in the animal kingdom. You know what I mean? This is how they got to navigate at this primitive time. The Lord tell you niggas don't interbreed back into them, and you did, and this would happen. And the Lord tell you don't interbreed back into these people, and this would happen. And this is what you're producing. And being that these yaks, these Bigfoots, these Yetis are not capable of everlasting life, make eunuchs. Eunuchs mean to chop your nuts off, cut off your ovaries. They do it now. That's been something that you could find historically. Origin, he made himself a eunuch. So for those, you know what I mean? Let's get that real quick, shout it. Let's get that. Niggas like, oh, they created eunuchs. They created eunuchs. But Origin, one of the dudes responsible for you receiving a lot of these Testament texts, he cut his Johnson off. Like Mally say, his love muscle. Origin caught his love muscle off. So we're not going to act like, oh, these niggas over here doing some more evil shit. Let me get that. Let's level the playing ground. And I think Mally posted that verse in the Bible where them niggas was making themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of God. Let's go to Origin. Quick, fast. See, we level the playing ground. So now we get to Origin right here. Origin of Alexandria, 185 to 253 CE, Common Era. Origin, an avid collector of Christian books, helped create the Library of Caesarea, containing more than 30,000 manuscripts. So this is the dude responsible for a lot of the literature you have biblically today in your New Testament. You know what I mean? So check it. Look what he did. Look what that say. Origin self-castrate himself in devotion to God. He made himself a eunuch. Look what it says. Eusebius claimed that as a young man following a literal reading of Matthew 19:12, in which Jesus is presented as saying there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Origin either castrated himself or had someone else castrate him in order to ensure his reputation as a respectable tutor to young men and women. So this nigga cut off his love muscle because of Matthew's 19:12, when Jesus said, there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. So now let's not get too out of pocket when we see eunuchs being used, or the yaks being used, or being castrated because of the lack of, they're not capable of having eternal life. Talking about what you would consider the Bigfoots. You ain't gonna see these niggas floating around in the area. These are earthbound, earth only. But these are your parents. These are your forefathers, your foremothers. They came from you. Although they got them extinct, all these early primitive races are extinct. But Owaspi is honestly showing you how it was in the beginning. It wasn't sweet and glamour here, was it? Oh, they made eunuchs, but over here on the normal palette, he got niggas' heads chopped off. Shit, well, which one is worse? Your love muscle being chopped off or your head being chopped off? Which one is it? Remember, a wasp be fairy tale, so that shit don't count. But this is real. That's our scapegoat. Y'all say I'll book a fairy tale, so we could always brush that. Oh, that shit ain't real anyway. But this is. Normal palate real. So how you like to serve your God? With your nut snatched off, your love muscle cut, or your head chopped off? Your head chopped off, like in Leviticus chapter 1 for the burnt offering, and he chopped the bull head off and put it on the altar. Hey, you have men, human sacrifice, with their heads chopped off, probably about to be sacrificed on the altar to Osiris. So what is it? What would you rather have? Your head chopped off serving an armor? Or here you making the irons made eunuchs and made them servants? And these ain't niggity niggas. Like I said, they describe how these niggas is. Show me a nigga with long ass arms with a stoop back. I'll wait. And the yak's arms were long and their backs were stooped and curved. Show me a nigga like that. See, they be quick to jump out the window saying all type of shit. I know this is primitive man. This is beast man, animal man in his finest state. Look at that. And this ain't too far-fetched, man, looking like this. You don't see pictures of Europeans looking like that. Put on hairy man. Watch this. Hairy man. Is that too far-fetched? Is this too far-fetched than the yak? The yak of the yak. The Bigfoot. Look at the Bigfoot. They go Bigfoot. And this is a hairy-ass nigga right here. Look at that. See the gene pool? See how sometimes the gene pool may show up in the genetics? See how the gene pool of the yak may pop up every now and then? Look at that. Look at the European with all the hair. Look at this guy right here. But look at Bigfoot, though. Ain't too far-fetched, right? Ain't too far-fetched. Remember, it's still in the gene pool. As long as your ass alive, you carry the genetics of all this shit. You may pop up looking like this one day. Or you may have a seed pop up looking like this one day. It's in the gene pool. It's in the gene pool. Look at this dude. Look at this. He an Indian. You can tell he's God. Look at his face. And this is modern times. Just imagine man in his raw form 80,000 years ago. In his raw form. Where he ain't got no clippers to shape up. See that? So we bring things to light. So these yaks, what they talking about is basically damn big, a Sasquatch, a Bigfoot type of nigga. And the Lord said, the yak shall serve the hinds and build and sow and reap for them. And it was so. And the hinds were disposed to live alone. But the Lord called them together, saying, come dwell together in cities, for it is fitting that you live in the manner of what? My kingdoms in heaven. See that? Now, the Lord is trying to raise these niggas up from living primitive and show them how to build and live in communities. It's levels to this shit. Build therefore to the Lord your God, and my angel shall dwell with you, teaching you to sing and dance for the glory of your Creator. And man built to the Lord and established worship on earth in the manner of heaven. Now look, now what happened that the Druks came to witness the rites and ceremonies of the chosen, but they took no part in them, nor did they comprehend their meaning. So the Druks over there looking like, yo, what the fuck these niggas over here doing? You know niggas told that. So that's a nigga, you remember, Narma's a Druk. He over here slaying shit. The sign of the to know a Druk is war and destruction. So now this nigga took a break for war and destruction. you know what I mean, walking through, tiptoeing through the tulips, and they see the irons, and they're like, yo, what they doing over there? Look what he said. God said to the irons, so that you can teach some of them about the Lord your God, build within the house of worship an image of me, build in the likeness of man, and I will manifest to those who are capable of everlasting life. So now, there go your image. See right here, we know that God is not the creator that's talking. These are angels in service to the creator helping uplift man. That's what's going on here. So God is that's the equivalent of the president talking. The president said to the irons, so that you can teach some of them about the Lord, my vice president, your president. Build within the house of worship an image of me, your president. Build it in likeness of a man, because I resemble a man, and I will manifest to those who are capable of everlasting life. See that? These are the steps. These are the rudimentary steps that they're using to help man identify and understand the creator, right? Niggas just ain't come on scientifically fully advanced. No, you got to take primitive steps to build man up, to know his creator. And the irons, men and women, with their servants, built images of stone and clay and wood to the Lord, and stood them by the altar of sacrifice. And during the time of worship, the angels of the Lord came and possessed the idols, and spoke from them with audible voices in the presence of mortals. See that? See that? So they made the dang on the idols audible. So just imagine you sit there and you start hearing a voice coming from the idol. Like, what the fuck going on here? You know what I mean? But this is the method they're doing at this particular time on how to help raise man up. And the drunks inquired of the irons as to the cause. Like, yo, how that happened? Yo, so the drunks is acquiring knowledge now. Huh? So Narmer, the drunk, he's trying to get some knowledge from the people that supposedly look like this. So the brown and black man, Narmer, is coming to the people that are like this, inquiring about these idols audibly speaking. How was that? How was that possible? Right? And the iron said, behold, there is a God in heaven, subtiler than the air of heaven. It was he who brought us forth out of darkness. He speaks in the idol so that you may know that he abides with his people. See, this is done for the Druks to give them understanding, show them something miraculous, something abnormal, paranormal, to the point where you like, it raises your curiosity within. So this is a strategy from the Lord and God to raise the Druks up. So while y'all talking about the Druks being all negative, this, that, and the third, God, through his lords, is using a tactic to make man conscious of his God. Is that a bad thing? Especially when you coming out and doing shit like this, killing your brother. Prior to this, they was killing brother. Slaying left and right. Now you learning about the Lord. Through an abnormal event, what we would classify as a miracle today, if you was to see an idol and the damn idol start audibly speaking, we gonna be like, yo, that ain't normal. How'd that happen? See that? That's what's going on here. The drunks is getting knowledge of self. And the drunk said, what does he say? Meaning this God. The iron answered, that whoever has attained to remember God is on the way to everlasting life. So now just imagine you never heard speech like this. You already questioning this idol talk. Now their answer to you is that it's a God in heaven, and you don't know. You're trying to figure this shit out. So look what the drunks say. The drunks inquired, saying, how can a man live forever? Behold, you who believe also die. So look at that. These niggas is reasoning now. The same nigga who was out here slaying niggas, the drunk, Narmer, and the same Cain and Abel, Cain out here slaying niggas. Now Cain and Narmer is out there inquiring of the Lord. That's the plan. Raise these niggas up. The iron answered, saying, as the voice of the Lord is unseen but potent, so is there a spirit in man unseen and potent, which shall never die, but ascend in heaven to inhabitations prepared by the Lord. Now tell me right now, Sarnetta don't believe in this. Sarnetta don't believe in no afterlife and there's a heaven and that. And there's a lot of niggas, Reggie don't believe in it. But these are the ideas and behaviors of the drunks in the WASP that carry the same mind frame that you see in Sarnetta today, that you see in Reggie now. They don't believe in spirituality. They don't know what happens after you die. They're conscious of a creator, although they don't know nothing other than that. That, yeah, there is something outside of myself. That's about it. But the acquired knowledge to know, they don't have it. And this is showing you the same behavior that the drunks have right here in this verse, showing you that they have no knowledge of the spirit life, the same way we see our brothers today are skeptic about the spirit life. We ain't questioning it. We like, yeah, nigga, it's life after death, nigga, it's places, boom, boom, boom. We headlong, we know. But then you have those that's going to deny it until they see it for themselves. Verse 21. And many of the drunks pondered upon these things. So like when Creator Gang came to Sarnetta, and we brought Owaspi, and we brought the higher level of spirituality and the breakdown of who God is, Lord God, and differentiating the gods from the creator. It made niggas ponder. Look at JJ. He's no longer a Hebrew Israelite no more. He talking about the false gods, what we brought out. He was once a drunk. Now he was pondering upon what Creator Gang was saying. Although, you know, niggas ain't gonna give niggas the credit, but we know. And many of the drunks, many of the house of consciousness pondered upon these things. And their thoughts quickened their souls within them, so that they were brought forth heirs to eternal salvation. What are we talking about here? The drunks are now bringing forth heirs to eternal salvation because now they get an understanding of who Creator is through the gods and the Lord. What did it say? And many of the Druks pondered on these things. It didn't say few of the Druks. Many of the Druks pondered upon these things. So there you got the Druk is Narmer. The Druk is Cain. So you have Cain and Narmer now pondering upon these things. To the point, although you was a murderer and killer, Jaja say what? And their thoughts quicken their soul. See, your comprehension and understanding is tied to your soul. And your soul is tied to your offspring. Going to dictate the spirit of your offspring based off your understanding. Because your understanding and your comprehension is going to dictate your character, your actions, your emotions, and your behavior. And all that is tied into soul, and all that is tied into when you produce offspring and what that personality of that child will be. This is the highest science over here. Spiritual science. Spiritual awareness. We trying to raise you niggas up out of this corporeal thinking. Get off that blackity black. I'm exposing that. I'm level the playing ground every time you bring up that. Every time. Every time you bring up colonizer and slave master, I'm going to bring up these shit right here. I'm going to bring it up every time to show you that before what you are talking at, this was going on among blacks. And self-convict yourself where you can't talk about it no more because every time you do, I'm going to bring it up. You bring up the white man, bitch, he learned it from the niggas. Huh? Alexander the Great was a warrior. All right, when he went up in Egypt, and if he went up in Egypt and saw this shit, he would have been like, well, damn, I'm doing the right thing. If Norma over here slaying niggas, why I can't slay niggas? See, I can always run that argument every time against you. This is chess, not checkers. And you niggas getting checkmated every time when you bring up colonization. So now we have the drunks bringing forth heirs of eternal salvation. Don't y'all niggas always talk about you got to get saved? Man, you got to get saved in Jesus' name. You got to get salvation, man. Well, didn't it just say right here that the drunk seed shall bring forth heirs to eternal salvation? End of discussion. End of the argument. End of the whole thing about the drunks. Because now they on equal playground with everybody else. Or the irons. Right? And the Lord said to the irons, because they have done a good thing, go abroad by the roadsides and other places and build images to me in mind. And my angels shall bestow gifts, signs, and miracles. Right? All this is for niggas. The Lord is doing all this for you niggas. Is that a bad thing? He ain't destroying niggas like in Judges. He ain't out here, you know what I mean, Murdering niggas at this time, he ain't doing that. And the iron supplied the roadways of the earth with idols of stone, wood, and clay. And the angels of heaven descended to the idols and established heavenly kingdoms close by. You know? But the spirit done got in my dog, over here running around happy. And when man came there and called on the name of the Lord, it was a password for the angels. And they wrought miracles and otherwise gave man evidence of the unseen. See that? For you non-believers, this was set up for you niggas to learn to believe in the unseen force and power of your creator. Niggas got to make idols and the angels got to come down and hoo with the idols for your silly ass to believe. Oh, man. And God gave commandments to man so that the earth could be a place of rejoicing forever. And these are the commandments of the Lord God given in that day. See that? In that day. The laws of that day is not sufficient for this day. Because there was certain things going on in that primitive time that we have. It's like, nigga, you don't wear diapers no more, do you? Which one of you niggas running around here in diapers? When you was a baby, you wore diapers, right? You wore baby clothes, right? Which one of you niggas walking around in a diaper today? So back then, it was a law for you to put on that diaper so he won't be shitting all over the ground. But when you learn how to shit, there ain't no more. That law is not sufficient anymore because you have grown out of that law. And now there are new laws set in place for your growth. It's the same thing when it says, these are the commandments of the Lord your God given in that day. Nigga, put your diapers on. Put your diapers on in your baby bib. Because that was the knowledge and the commandments for you to learn in that day in your primitive state. You shall strive to remember the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall not kill man, beast, bird, or creeping thing, for they are the Lord's. See that? You shall not kill a man. Uh-oh, what we got going on here? Killing. What we got going on here? Cain killing. What did the law say? You shall not kill man, beast, bird, or creeping thing, for they are the Lord's. Now, look at that. In the Awaspi, the law saying don't kill a nigga. But let's go to the Bible. Let's go to Judges. And let's show how that the Lord is commanding killing. Like outright killing, like, yeah, go knock him off. See? And the children of Israel wept. This is Judges 20:23. And the children of Israel went up and wept before the Lord until evening, and asked counsel of the Lord, saying, shall we go up against a battle to kill? Because if you battling, you killing against the children of Benjamin, my brother. And the Lord said, go up against them. So here you have the Lord condoning killing, period. I don't care what Benjamin did or what Israel did. You got the Lord telling the children of Israel to go to battle to kill Benjamin. But what did the Owaspi say? You shall not kill man, beast, bird, or creeping thing, for they are the Lord's. So Narmer is not following this Lord. Narmer is following the God of the Bible that's telling niggas to go kill, go up against him. Look, shall I go up against the children of Benjamin, my brother? The Lord said go up against them. So they go, the children of Israel, they go Benjamin, because Benjamin be getting the upper hand on them niggas. So here go Benjamin, and they go the children of Israel. Now the Lord just told this nigga right here who's laying on his knees. The Lord just told him, go to battle, and I'm gonna make sure you're victorious. So he goes to battle and ends up in this position. He ends up getting struck and killed. But the Lord told him to go. So if the Lord is telling you to go to battle, you know your confidence is going to be skyrocketed because you know the Lord's behind you. And if the Lord's behind you, if God behind you, nigga, you can't lose. So just imagine going to battle and the Lord told you himself. So you know your confidence is going to be shot. But then you lose the battle. What does that say about your Lord? His word is not his bond. Man, I don't trust you no more, nigga. You said you had my back. and you left me out there for dead. And the nigga you told me that I was going to be victorious over got the victory over me. What God they following? What God was Benjamin calling upon? It couldn't be the same Lord God, because he's opposed of Benjamin. So now, you shall not kill man, beast, bird, creeping thing, for they are the Lord's. You shall build walls around your cities, so that beasts and serpents may not enter and do you harm. See that? This is primitive time. This is a time where man living out in nature. And the animals at this time are huge. This is 78,000 years ago we're talking. So just imagine the lions, the serpents, the beasts, the dangerous animals to man, how massive they would have been at that time. This is before technology and industry. You know what I mean? So animals would have been living much longer, much bigger at this time. So now you shall build walls around your city, so that beasts and serpents may not enter and do you harm. Now that law right there, we ain't too much really, you know what I mean, stressing that today. You know what I mean? Because a lot of beasts and serpents, we ain't no serpents running around here today. So these are laws that pertain to the time. And if your habitation is in the wilderness, you shall build mounds of wood and earth to sleep on at night, so that serpents and beasts cannot molest you. See that? So this is general primitive civil living rules. The Ain's inquired of the Lord, saying, if we build walls around our cities, how shall we get in and out? How shall we gather our harvest of fruits and nuts and seeds of the field? How shall we ascend the mountains that we build in the wilderness? So these Ain's, see, they show you that they're not the brightest either. They didn't even think for themselves to say, well, all right, if we do that, we're going to build a ladder, at least to get over there. They don't even know. So the Lord said, behold, my angel shall teach you to build ladders and how to use them. And when you go into the city at night, you shall take the ladder in after you. And when you come out in the morning, you shall let the ladders down again. And God's angel taught the chosen these things, and man provided the cities and mounds with ladders. According to the commandments of God, these things were done. Now keep in mind, the chosen of God are those who carry the behavior, act. Keep in mind, we read earlier that they brought forth drunks to everlasting life. So if they brought forth drunks to everlasting life, these drunks are now following the commandments of God. So they're placed within the family. They're placed within that identity, right? But now, and the Ain's prospered and spread over the face of the earth. Hundreds of thousands of cities of mounds were built, and the Ain's rejoiced in the glory of all created things. Neither did they kill any man, beast, fish, bird, nor creeping thing that breathed the breath of life. So here you have evidence of the mounds. Right? And we have evidence of mounds all over the planet, right? Put up mouth. We got mounds here in Georgia. Look at that. See that? Look at that. They ain't making this up. Didn't they say they had to make ladders? Ain't that a ladder right there going up? See that? Ancient Indian mounds in Georgia. They go to ladder. What did the verse say about the ladder? What did the verse say about the ladder? The Lord said, behold, my angels shall teach you how to build ladders and you how to use them. Just a quick example. They go to the ladder, going up the mountain. So now here's the test. Here's the test. God saw that man was good and grateful in all things. And God called to the angels of heaven, saying, why are the Ain's good? For as yet they are ignorant. See? This is chess, not checkers. Everything done is to improve mankind, mortals. Make them fit, strong, strategic, wise in decision making. Learn from mistakes. All this is the learning process of why we on earth, why we here. So check this. God is using wisdom now. And God saw that man was good and grateful in all things. And God called to the angels of heaven, saying, why are the hinds good? God is questioning them. For as yet they are ignorant. What are they ignorant in? We'll find out. And the angel answered, saying, they are good because you said to us, go as guardian angels and inspire men to live without evil. So the only reason they're good is because you told us to ward off evil from them, which we did, ministering to the ions, guarding and inspiring them night and day. See that? You got inspiring angels around you day and night, and you don't even know it. You are clueless to this. God said, well then, the ions have no honor. Unless they learn by themselves to be good, they will be void of wisdom in heaven. See that? It's like somebody handling all your duties for you, and you ain't developing on your own. No, man, you got to stand on your own 2 feet, man. You got to stand on your square. You got to learn. I can't keep doing this for you. That's what God is saying here. This is what the situation is calling for. For this reason, you shall withdraw a little, so that man is tried as to his self-commandment. Right? I've been holding your hand for this long. I'm going to let your hand go, and I'm going to see how you stand on your own. That's what he's basically saying to the angels. I want man to be tested to see how he does without our presence. So the angels withdraw a while from the ions. Now the ions had stored in their cities and on their mounds ample provision of food and clothing for the winter. But the Druks did not follow the example of the ions, for the Druks stored up nothing, right? And when the angels withdrew a little way, look what it states. Evil spirits came to the Druks and said to them, behold, it is winter, and you are hungry. Go over the ladders and possess the stores of the ions. That's what they hearing in their head. That's what their conscience telling them, the evil spirits. So the Druks plundered the ions, and evil spirits came upon the ions also. Uh-oh. I thought the ions were special. I thought the ions was better than the Druks. I thought the ions was just goody two-shoes. But look what happens. Evil sat upon them also. And many of them were inspired to defend their goods, to defend their stores. And war ensured, and it spread around the whole earth. So now we got warfare between this nigga Narmer and these people. Warring back and forth like Narmer right here. Chopping off heads like Narmer right here. All in defense of nigga coming over your property stealing. And you defending your it's like a nigga breaking in your house. You're gonna go in defense. This is the test now. Here's the test. A nigga done broken your shit. What you gonna do? That's the test. That's the test of the ions that God is talking about. The drunks ran up in your shit. Nigga, what's good? They been used to doing it. Right here. Nama been used to killing niggas. This ain't nothing new for Nama. This ain't nothing new for Narmer the Druk. Narmer the Druk. This ain't nothing new for him. He been slaying niggas. So now he running up in your shit. And you've been taught not to kill. So there you go, following your commandment of your God, being non-resistant, and here go Narmer being inspired by lower self, carnal self, to kill your ass. But then the evil spirits rose up in the Narmer in them, and the evil spirits rose up in your ass too. So it's a two-way battle of evil going on there. Look what it states. Look what the iron said. And the irons asked the Lord as to why God allowed evil to come upon his chosen. Why did God allow this? Why, God? I told you this is chestnut checkers, right? Look what the Lord said. And the Lord said, because you depend upon me for all things, you do not develop yourselves. From now on, man shall learn to face evil on his own account. Otherwise, he cannot attain to the Godhead in heaven. Meaning to say, you now got to face the decisions you got to make when faced with evil. And it is the wisdom of your decision that's going to determine your position on higher levels or even being a God. You know why? Because being a God, you're going to face these oppositions as a ruler. And if you never experienced these things, you wouldn't know how to strategize to overcome these things. That's why you got to go through these faults. That's why you got to go through the struggle. That's why you got to go through the shit you go through, because it's the triumphant and overcoming at the end that is victorious. Because when you triumphant at the end, then you can go raise up others who are going through the similar experience that you once went through, and you can teach them better because you already went through it. This is what it is to be a God. This is what it is to be a boss. This is what it is to be a general, president. In order to be a leader, nigga, you had to go through the ups and downs, the good, bad, and the ugly. Your creator has given you two entities, that which is flesh and that which is spirit. And the flesh will desire earthly things, but the spirit will desire heavenly things. Behold, when the Druks came upon you for your stores, your flesh cried out, war! And your people fell. So now the Ions got the mark of the beast, the mark of Cain, the mark of the Druks, because they went to war. Remember, the sign of the Druks is warfare. So now, at this point, we're dealing with the behavior and characteristics of a Druk being war. And Ions is carrying out war just like the Druks. So, in one point, like I read earlier, the behavior of a Druk is one thing outside of the physical appearance of a Druk. It's the behavior that we're talking about, the spirit within. Now I have come again to raise you up, to make you understand the spirit within. It is that, and not the flesh, which shall learn to triumph. And see that? They're not telling you that. When they wanted to bash Osiris, they didn't tell you, they didn't read you that part. That it's not about the flesh, but the triumphant of spirit dealing with these challenges. Because they don't properly understand the book. And you see the difference you get in understanding the layout, and let alone letting them speak on it. If you want to learn about the Osiris, come to somebody who knows. Come over here. Don't let nobody who hasn't invested years in researching this information to teach you the book, because they're going to mislead you. It'll be no different than somebody who hasn't learned the Bible, who hasn't invested time to understand Bible, but you let a nigga who just picked up the Bible last year to teach you the Bible and speak with authority of the book like they've been doing it all these years. Man, sit your ass down somewhere, man. That's how I respect it. They fake. The Lord said, behold, there were Druks who had learned a little from the images. Now, because your people are scattered and gone, they shall go among the Druks and teach the law of incest and the name of God. And the Druks shall also begin to hide their nakedness. See that? So they became a scattered people, which in return, God used that to say, all right, well, where you're scattered, teach the people about Creator. So now you're not secluded. Now you're spread out, spreading the word among the same people that you was born with. This is the triumphant of the spirit over the flesh. Because according to the flesh, you're going to say, I ain't fucking with them niggas. But according to the spirit, you got to triumph in that. Verse 22. So the Lord inspired other people beside the Ions to make and wear clothes, which they did. Who would have been that? Been the Druks. So niggas is rocking clothes too now. Huh? And again, the Lord brought the Ions together in lodges and cities, and he said to them, from this time forward, you shall live upon the earth as an example of righteousness. And your brethren who have mingled with the tribes of darkness shall no longer molest you, but shall be your defenders and protectors. Now look at this, because remember, there's been interbreeding going on between the Ions and the Druks. Look what it says. A new tribe began on the earth, and they were called Ahuins. See, these dum-dums ain't read long enough to get to this part. They want to talk about the Druks and the Ions, but them niggas ain't tell you about the Ahuins. Look what it states. A new tribe began on the earth. They were called Ahuins because they were half-breed between the Druks and Ions. The Ahuins were red like copper. This is the copper-colored man coming into play now. And they were taller and stronger than any other people in the world. And the Lord commanded the Ahuans. So now, the Druks and the Ahuans created a new race called the Ahuans. And it says what? They were taller and stronger than any other people in the world. They're talking about niggas. Owaspi is letting you know that you were the tallest and strongest people than any other people on the planet. That's why we dominate in everything we do. Sports, dominate. So when you talk about the Owaspi speak against black people, nigga, you done got it wrong. You ain't read long enough. This is just the raw, unadulterated truth about how shit happened in the beginning. And it ain't favoring no sides. I just showed you that the Irons, evil spirits, ran upon the Irons. Ain't no favoritism no more. It's a lesson learned. That's what this shit about. Overcoming the flesh and letting the spirit triumphant. Now look. And the Lord commanded the Ahuans saying, protect the Irons, the little people. See that? Show me a race of little white people running around this joint. I'll wait. Where they at? Protect the Irons, the little people, white and yellow. Show me a race of Europeans that is white and yellow that are little people that stood no more than 3 feet tall. That's what they call the little people. The little people are pygmies. These are pygmies we're talking about. So these albino-looking people right here was pygmies, short. So just imagine the pygmy with the phenotype of an albino. That's what we're talking about. That's what we call the sacred little people, because they different. They're not indigenous like the nigga, the brown and black man, indigenous to the earth. The albino is something different. In Africa, they are killing some of these albinos for whatever reason. Protect the Irons, the little people, white and yellow. Call them the sacred people, for you are of them, and they are also of the Lord your God. And it was so. See what I'm saying? And the show, even look at this. It even goes into the language. Look. About this time, man began to use his lips and tongue in enunciating words. Look what it states. Look what it states. Prior to which he spoke in the thorax. Ooh, ooh, just like a baby. A baby utters from the thorax. The thorax is the part of the body between the neck and the abdomen, is also known as the chest. So prior to you using lips, my nigga, like how we speaking now, you spoke from the gut. You spoke from the gut. See that? Hey, yo, before you was doing hey, yo, you was speaking from the thorax. You was speaking from here. Ooh, like when a baby trying to talk, it speaks from its stomach. Observe a child. Observe a child before a child learns language. Observe a baby anywhere between the ages of 6 months and look where it is expressing its vocals from. It's from the gut. It's from the abdomen. Ooh, goo goo gaga is an abdomen put. It's from the abdomen. Goo goo ga. That's coming from the abdomen. That's coming from the abdomen, the thorax. So even in the Owaspi, it's showing you the evolution of man from speaking from the thorax to speaking from the lips, like how we communicate now, speaking from the lips. I'm not speaking from the thorax right now, speaking like this. But then you have certain African tribes who still express from the thorax. Ooh, my name is Ungande. You know what I mean? That's still there. You see what I'm saying? So that's why Owaspi is a jinn, yo. About this time, now keep in mind I said about this time. When is this time? 78,000 years ago. That's what we're talking about. 78,000 years ago. About this time, man began to use lips and tongue in enunciating words. Ah, ba, ka. To which he spoke in the thorax. Ooh, ga, ga. See that? And the Lord spoke to the iron, saying, so that the labor of the Lord your God may be remembered on earth, go provide me a stone, and I will engrave it with my own hand. And it shall be called Simon, because it shall be a testimony to all nations and people of the earth of the first written language in all the world. Now, keep in mind, according to the Bible, Exodus 31:18, let's get it. Exodus 31:18, what did God do? Exodus 31:18. What did God do? And God gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communion with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of stone, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God. And this is Moses' time. What we read in here is long before Moses' time. This is 78,000 years what we read in here on a time scale. Moses is only 3,500 years ago. But here it's telling you the very first language, right? Look what it says. Go provide me a stone, and I will engrave it with my own hand, and it shall be called Simon, because it shall be testimony to all nations and people on the earth of the first written language in all the world. And you know what the first written language is? Let me get it. So the irons prepared a stone and hewed it flat, then polished it smooth. And the Lord came down in the night and engraved it. And the Lord explained it through his angels. He taught the irons the meaning of the character engraved on it. See that? This language, what the Lord is talking about, is the petroglyph language. This is what he's talking about. This is the oldest language on the planet Earth. Petroglyphic way of communicating. This is your oldest communication right here. This predates your Phoenician. This predates your hieroglyph. This is the oldest language, the oldest means of communication right here, the petroglyphic system. And this is exactly what the Owaspi is talking about when it states, so the irons prepared a stone, hewed it flat, then polished it smooth. And the Lord came down in the night and engraved it. And the Lord explained it through his angels. He taught the irons the meaning of the characters engraved in it. See that? And here's the evidence of that right here. And not only that, I did a video some time back, and the Dogon got a story where that exactly happened. What was the name of that? Dang, let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh, that's gonna be way down on the feed, but shoot. Let me see if I can find it real quick. There was a part of the video that I took where the Dogons explained the how they got their glyphs, how they got their understanding of those glyphs. Let me see. Y'all bear with the God for a minute. Let me see if I can pull that up. See all this body of work your boy been doing? I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. Oh, yeah, it's coming up. All right. Let me see. The tree of language. I think that's it. Let me make sure. Is that the tree of language? Let me make sure. Is it the people of irons? Is it spirit communication? Damn, boy, I had this so much. All tight. Everybody, all tight. Yeah, it's up here. It's one of these. It's out of Tree of language. Let me hit that real quick. Let me see if that's in here. All tight, all tight. Everybody, all tight. Let me see if this is it. Oh, there you go. Yep, this is it. Hold on. Rob, now let me play this real quick. Let me play that real quick. Watch this. Oh, they have me looking so bad. What do you eyes dread? Let me share my screen. Watch this, right? Listen, listen. What I just read, I'm reading 10 years ago. This is 10 years ago. And I'm reading the same thing that I read 10 years ago. But just listen to what the Dogon said. So you hear that? The Dogons was given glyphs from the Nomo basically for these niggas to create their own language. But it was delivered by the Nomos. It was delivered by the gods. It's the same thing in the Owaspi. Oh, I ain't show it? Let me show that again. Let me show screen. I thought I was showing a screen. Let me show face. All right. Let me run that back.
The sacred little people, the meaning of the characters engraved thereon.
Tribal legend tells us that beings called Numo descended from the sacred star and appeared before the Dogon ancestors. The Dogon were entrusted by the Numo with 366 symbols given without meaning. The Dogon were charged with interpreting them and preserving the information for future generations.
See that? They was given symbols by the Nomo, which are the gods, to interpret. So it's similar to this. Right? So I just want to show you that what we're reading is not far-fetched. Hold up. Hold tight, hold tight. All right. So now, coming back to the verse where it states, so the irons prepared a stone, hewed it flat, then polished it smooth. And the Lord came down in the night and engraved it, and the Lord explained it. See that? The Lord came down, just like the Nomos came down and gave the glyphs to the Dogons, and the Dogons was left to interpret. But here it says the Lord explained it through his angels. He taught the irons the meaning of the characteristics of the graven and of the engraved on it. So in this instance, the Lord explained the meaning of the characters. But in the case of the Dogons, the Nomos just gave them the glyphs, and the Dogons created the interpretation and meaning. But this stuff is not far-fetched. And look what it states. And the Lord said, go into all cities in all countries of the world and provide copies of the tablet I have given. So it came to pass that the angels of heaven inspired the irons to make tablets and to read them, so that the first language of the earth, Panic, could be preserved to the races of men. And it was so. So the first language, the Panic language, which JJ had a hard time understanding. What is the Panic language? What is that? The Panic language is the petroglyphic language, brother. This is the first language. This is the first language. It's called the petroglyphic system of communication. See that? This is what we're talking about here. These are your oldest forms of communication, your oldest forms of writing. Long before Egypt, long before Hebrew, long before cuneiform. I'm talking thousands and tens of thousands of years before these systems. These systems are longer and older than Kemet. Kemet is only 4,000 years. Hebrew was only 35,000 years. Sumeria is only like 4,000 years. But these systems goes back 5, 10, 15,000 years. See, even some of them go back even as far as 40,000 years. So the petroglyphic system of communication is far older than what we know as the Hebrew, cuneiform, and hieroglyphics. This was a world system of communication, the petroglyphic system, because this is found all over the world, not just isolated in one location. The petroglyphic system is just not isolated in Egypt. It's just not isolated in the Americas. It's found all over Australia, India, Asia, Europe, America, all over. There go the vortex right there. Sign of the creator, the vortex. The vortex is the symbol of the sign, the force and power of creator. See that? See that? This is your earliest means of communication. There go the vortex right there again. Look at that. Example of primitive man building. See that? That's what we're dealing with, fam. This is what the Ions did, the Druks, who was capable, all that. Your ancestors did this. Yes. So, you know what I mean? If I vibe with that ras, you know? Now, if I fix that, yeah, yo. Camera, I'm taking it up. Well, we gonna vibe out, man. I just want to come drop that, you know what I mean? Touch on the Druks, the brown and black people, and set the record straight with that. You know what I mean? And show that the earliest Drunk in recorded history that we have is coming from Narmer, Cain and Abel. You know what I mean? So we're not gonna front and pretend. With that, salute your boy Shlomo Zada here. We're gonna vibe out to some music before we push out. And until next time, family, let's go ahead and start off with the comedic diss track first. Let's go into it. Let's bang it. Creator gang is undefeated. Creator gang is undefeated. Know that. Know that. They not like us. Separate the real from the fake is a must. We stand on creator and no God we trust. Team Kemet got crushed into powder and dust. Woo! Kemet looking bad now. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many men down? Look at us all running, ducking, trying to skip town. Now power one it in. You Hebrew, what you Kemet now? Siding with the people that enslaved your own people now? Chop you up into pieces and throw you in the river now. Reggie right beside you, get ate by Kemetic crocodile. Look, we got them running, covering square miles. Scared to death, what's left only to take the crown. Get smashed down on your own stomping ground. We took over like the Hicks on your turf doing a disco. 2-stepping, no half-stepping with the info. You wouldn't even know the book of the dead, bro, if it wasn't for the translation done by my sparrow. Your time's narrow, semi-missiles blow out your arch arrows. Arches down, so goes the pharaoh. I saw him reading the glyphs like he an expert, but where he learned that from? This about to hurt. First translation came from Samuel Birch. European Egyptology gave you it first. You couldn't translate a bird to a word without looking up them European definition verbs. Y'all niggas acting like y'all blackity black, frontin' to the people, man, y'all niggas actually whack. Your pathetic comedic creation meant it's a trap. The blind leading the blind with no actual facts. Jabario Saze, you softer than Sade. Come to find out he followed Yahweh. That was your execution, you par Rosicrucian. Western thought you using, you walk
quite confusing. Don't know what you're doing, how my eye got you moving. Right now you are losing, at your wake I'm viewing. R.I.P. communion, mummy wrapped in ruin. OSP is ruling, science has been proven. All motion moving, you live in an illusion. Who you think you fooling, think you need some schooling. It's like Reggie out here living in a ghost town, walking around like I see dead people around. I don't believe in spirits, but I believe them now. Stuttering Stanley, you can have a seat now.
Stuttering Stanley, stuttering Stanley, stuttering Stanley, stuttering Stanley. Shut up, you freak!
Freaky ass Kim and they got 69 gods. Freaky ass Kim and they got 69 gods. Freaky ass Kim and they got 69 gods. 69 gods, 69 gods. Freaky ass Kim and they got 69 gods. Freaky ass Kim and they got 69 gods. Freaky ass Kim and they got 69 gods. 69 gods, 69 gods.
Creator gang is undefeated. Creator gang is undefeated. And it's gonna remain that way. And it's gonna remain that way.
Lion and Judah rap. The penile gland holds the power. They plan to crucify me at the 9th hour. Charges against me, attempts to arrest me. Apostate Jews, Pharisees and Sadducees. I spoke parables to the multitude at Galilee. Paint pictures with parables that'll fill up a gallery. Zealous Jews, killers on a salary. Jealous and confused, heart harking, burning like calories. Restore the blind, raise the dead from the coffin, bruh. But my command make angels sing like an orchestra. The scribes took notes saying I'm a sorcerer. Reports above my head, flying sorcerers. Ascending and descending lights from the Etherian heights. 9th hour daytime turn to midnight. The ground started vibrating hard as the temples and synagogues are destroyed by God. The children of God can make God. Yeah, Creator gang gang, FOPE dis, for our people's ignorance. Salute Malachi Maccabee, Cosmon Cal, Bronze Yogi, Yare Ya, Creator gang gang, peace to the goddesses. We gonna set the record straight. I know these clowns named folk, man, they a fucking joke. Naphtali tried to explain the Ark of Noah's boat. Malachi Maccabee exposed the whole shit as a hoax. She had the nerve to say the earth is 6,000 years old. And tried to use Gobekli Tepe for the Ark of Noah. But what you ought to know, your sources got burned like an arsenal. So pack it up and throw them scripts in the trash. Your God gets stoned to death for prophecies not coming to pass. Like America's supposed to get hit with the nuclear blast. 24 years later, we look back at you niggas and laugh. I should pick rocks and stone you niggas myself. Throw you in a lake of fire, watch your skin start to melt. Shawshan be the first to get blamed. When I heard the shots, look, left his people and ran. Damn. K. Judah, you feel to be a shooter. You not a teacher, you a tutor, hiding behind computers. Naphtali, you not ready for Mali. He exposed to go for wood from the Ark, come out of Cali. Long Beach, Naphtali better run a retreat. Your champion looking bad on these YouTube streets. When I waving the white flag as a sign of defeat. Bow down like Jehu and kiss the boot on my feet, nigga. Your Messiah can't save shit. Where was the Messiah when we was changing them slave ships? Praying to a God that return ain't say shit. The God of war got you niggas stuck in a slave pit. Talking about that prophecy, more like propaganda from a false God democracy. FOP for our people's edification. You not edifying, but lying to the Israelite nation. Think you following God when you following Satan. Stiff-necked and stubborn like them goddamn Jamaicans. Come against Creator, gang, your doctrine's dying. When Mally cut Naphtali, she almost started crying. She ran to her husband and screamed, baby, I'm trying. That's what happens when you put a pussycat against a lion. Yeah, Creator gang gang is undefeated. FOP is washed up. Y'all put y'all goddess on the front line and she got her head blown off. Creator gang gang is undefeated. We out of here. Creator gang is undefeated. I keep it real, pack to steal if whoever want it. Clap, Judah be running laps when he get confronted. Got Devil Cosmon to knock you off of 500. They hit the club, roll up a Judah dub, forever blunted. Contemplating on who we gonna take out next. Got Cosmon, Cal, Malik, Mac and be the best. The 4 horsemen who understand the business. Contract killers won't hesitate to kill a witness. 21 bodies executed on my hit list. JJ trying to watch me, trying to take pictures. Yara working with woods and paint, a bunch of snitches. Peer pressure separate the real from the bitches. Niggas be gang gang until you start to bang bang. Let a nigga brains hang on everybody like dang. You thought it couldn't happen. Yara wouldn't smoke 9/11 Manhattan. Bullets in his breastplate, both lungs collapsing. Hands reaching in the air for the air he grasped it. The flyer was made, Sila Shalom first captain. But the captain ran away just like if nothing happened. I'm a certified killer. Peel a nigga, cut him open and feed him his own liver. Graphic is how I paint the picture. Shoot shots like a pitcher. Split JJ like a swish. Cut the head off for the lion's den and watch the rest of the body quiver. Core shots I deliver when it's crunch time on the trigger. Got 2 pair of eagles fly like seagulls when it's time. I scoot out, shoot out. Air out Yara every time. Standing behind enemy lines, killing my enemies every time. Defend the faith like Muslim Sunni soldiers at a shrine. I facilitate thoughts beyond the thoughts of mankind. Creator gang is in the prime while you niggas get left behind. Creator gang is undefeated. Salute, Daryl Cosmon, Cosmon Cal, Malachi Maccabee, and the whole Creator gang. Nigga, we outside with it. All that huffing and puffing don't mean nothing. You step in the dojo.
Bittersweet Herbals. What it tastes is bitter, but the results are sweet. Bittersweetherbals.com. Bittersweet Herbals. What it tastes is bitter, but the results are sweet. Bittersweetherbals.com.